What's up, my Essential Units? It's Essential Man here, so back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. So we're going to the year of 1992. Many regards as one of the best years that WCW ever produced until the boom period they had in the mid to late 90s due to like the star power and the work rate. So I'm reviewing a WCW pay-per-view of that year. That is 1992. That is Super Brawl 2 at the Miller High Life Theater. Right now it's called the Milwaukee Panthers Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On the 29th of February 1992, the attendance for the show was 5,000. This show received about 160,000 pay-per-view buys, an upgrade than the first Super Bowl show from 1991, the previous year. The main event of that show was Ric Flair versus Fujinami for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. That was Flair's last in the company before going to the World Wrestling Federation. You know, did the whole real world champion storyline, you know, and winning the Rumble and becoming a two-time WWF champion in his first run in the company. This is the first Super Bowl pay-per-view in February because the first one, Super Bowl 1, was a May pay-per-view and they changed it to the annual February pay-per-view. They will continue to do that trend until the end of WCW's run, you know, when the company went under in 2001. The last Super Bowl they did was Super Bowl Revenge. That was in February of 2001. Anyway, so the commentators for the show are Jim Ross and the debuting Jesse the Body Ventura. This was Jesse Ventura's first WCW pay-per-view appearance because he came from the WWF. But done research, you know, preparing for review of this show, why Jesse Ventura left the WWF. It has to do with legal issues, you know, he left on very bad terms. I'm guessing he sued the company. Maybe, was it video rights, you know, of his imagery. He came back in '99, you know, be part of, you know, he was a special guest referee, you know, in the main event of, you know, the triple threat match between, you know, Austin, Triple H, and Mankind, and then he'd be part of the XFL, and then be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004. So yeah, you know, he kind of like puts his differences with Vince aside. Anyway, so the first match to kick off the show, we got Jushin Thunder Liger defending the WCW Light Heavyweight Championship against Flying Brian Pillman. Flying Brian Pillman was the first Light Heavyweight Champion. The Light Heavyweight title is the predecessor to the Cruiserweight title they will do in the mid-90s and the late 90s. Anyway, yeah, Pillman won the title at Halloween Havoc the previous year in 1991 against Richard Morton. He dropped the title to Thunder Liger in December, 2 months later, on Christmas Day. I don't know if it was taped or a house show, you know, how the hell they work in on Christmas, because Christmas is a day you spend time with your family. Anyway, so the match between Pillman and Thunder Liger, this was a good match. It was good technical style wrestling and some high-flying spots. By the way, I'm guessing this is the final pay-per-view. I think it's the first pay-per-view in the post-Jim Hood era because he got fired. I think he got fired. And this is until before Bill Watts took over and he banned the top rope maneuvers. Anyway, yeah, the match was really good between Pillman and Thunder Liger, two good workers. I don't know if Thunder Liger's in the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Pillman's not. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Maybe in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, but not in the WWE's Hall of Fame. Anyway, so one more of the match, Thunder Liger hit Pillman with I think it was a senton off the top rope outside the ring. In the end, Pillman rolled up Thunder Liger with a bridge suplex pin for the win, and become I think he's the only two-time light heavyweight champion in the history of the light heavyweight championship. Because Pillman was the first champion. Then Thunder Liger was the second champion. And then, yeah, Pillman won it again. So, yeah, the third champion was Scotty Flamingo. He'll defeat Pillman at the Beach Blast pay-per-view later on in the year. And I think the last champion before they retired the title, and until they not bring back, but introduce the Cruiserweight title years later, was, I think it was Steve Armstrong or Brad Armstrong, you know, the brothers of Road Dogg Jesse James. You know, it's a damn shame how the light heavyweight title wasn't, it was very short, you know, it started in, was it October 91 and ended in November 1992. It's a shame. But besides that, on the flip side, it was a really good match to kick off the show. We'll get to my final thoughts in the end. You know, there was no any bad matches on the show. I'll say it again when we get to my final rating of the show. So moving on to the next match. So the next match we had Terrence Taylor, or they call him Terrence Made Man, taking on Marcus Alexander Bagwell. That's the future Buff Bagwell. So at this moment in time, the York Foundation is officially no more because I don't know, maybe the gimmick, you know, the faction was not really getting over that well, or I think there's many reasons, by the way, or it has to do with the Endangered Alliance. We'll talk about the Endangered Alliance. You know, they're on this show later on in this review, so it's a damn shame. I really like that. You know, it's computer based. You had really good workers. You know, you had Richard Morton, you had Terry Taylor, you had. I don't know much about Tommy Rich. You know, he was Thomas Rich in that group. It was led by Alexander York, aka the future Marlena in the WWF. That is Terry Runnels. Yeah, it's a shame. You know, if they did this gimmick right now in our current timeline, because we're in this era of social media and computers, I think that group will get over as gangbusters. Anyway, so I found some like why they feuding on Wikipedia. You know how build up to their match on the show. So, you know, Bagwell won the first match on the 1st of February, and then, you know, Terrence Taylor, you know, attacked him after that. So the build up to this, you had basically Bagwell refused to become, you know, Terrence Taylor's mentor. So that's why they're feuding. You know. Just look it up on Wikipedia. You just type in WCW Superbrawl 2. You find like the storylines. You know, it's very hard to find WCW storylines. You know, it's not like WWE storylines on Wikipedia pages on a pay-per-view. It's just what it is. Anyway, so the match between Terrence Taylor and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, it was a good match. I really liked this match. You know, it was a fun match. You know, you can they can tell they show the athleticism of Bagwell. You never got to do that in. You know, in later years when he was Buff the Stuff, you know, in the Monday Night War era as Buff Bagwell. So, it was a good match, and also the fans were booing. They are booing. I think they were booing some ring announcer who won like some. I don't know what the ring announcer's name. He won this ring announcer competition, but they are booing Terrence Taylor, or I'm gonna call him Terry Taylor at this moment in time. And also they're chanting towards Rooster and because of his previous gimmick, you know, the Red Rooster, when he had that gimmick in the World Wrestling Federation. So, in the end, Bagwell pinned up Terrence Taylor for the win, and afterwards, Terrence attacked Bagwell, and I think he hit him with a DDT to get some more heat, and that was it. So yeah, it was basically young versus old. You know, I think Terry Taylor was in his mid-30s, Bagwell was in his 20s. You know. You know, it didn't amount. Yeah, you can tell like you can have an okay run in WCW. Bagwell, Terrence Taylor, he was there. He kind of left. I think he left about 93. You know, yeah, he was a producer in later years. You know, he's kind of like his career when he came back. It was in his career renaissance after the shit what they gave him. You know, the Red Rooster gimmick. That was so stupid. Anyway, so that was. Yeah, that was a good match. Let's go into another good match. We got we got Cactus Jack. That is Mick Foley taking on Ron Simmons, aka the future Farouk. You know, we got two future stars of the Attitude Era, Mankind versus Farouk. So I found another storyline of what they feuding. They were not. Simmons was kind of like in a third wheel because it's more focused on the rivalry between Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher. You know, in a match, you know, you had Abdullah the Butcher hit Cactus Jack with his candlestick. You know, they're fighting. You know, Simmons and Cactus Jack fighting multiple tag team matches. You know, I think he Ron Simmons got attacked. Butcher came to the rescue. It was kind of iffy, but I found out, like I said, just type in Super Brawl 2 on Wikipedia, you probably find the storylines, it's non-existent. Anyway, so the match between Cactus Jack and Ron Simmons, you can tell Simmons was getting pushed, Doom is officially no more. It was a good match. It was a fun match. One scary spot at this moment in time, you had Cactus Jack, Mick Foley was going for his typical clothesline, clothesline his opponent off out of the ring, but instead he got caught on the ropes. He was choking. It reminds me of the spot at One Night Only 97 in the match between Bret Hart versus The Undertaker. You had Bret caught on the ropes, and this time the match I'm talking about, Cactus Jack and Ron Simmons. Fortunately, that match wasn't ending in disqualification. Then Bret versus Taker, that was ending in disqualification. Yeah. Yeah, he's not dead. He's not no longer with us. If he's dead, but yeah, he managed to get free, but from the ropes. He was caught up by the ropes by his neck. That was a scary spot. It's funny that 2 years later it was the same spot. When you're caught on the ropes, you end up losing an ear. That's another topic for another time. Anyway, it was a fun match for what it is. I think Cactus Jack, not Cactus Jack, Ron Simmons, Farouk, hit Cactus Jack, I think he hit a spine buster onto the ramp. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention in the Terrence Taylor, Marcus Alexander Bagwell match, Bagwell hits Terrence Taylor with 2 atomic drops on the ramp. So, yeah, this match was a bit physical. He had some physical spots, like the rope spots. That was a bit scary. Cactus Jack cut on the ropes, but Cactus Jack hit like his typical clothesline off the top rope, out of the ring. So in the end, this was a good spot. So Cactus Jack was going for a move at the top rope. Simmons countered it into a power slam for the win, and then afterwards, you had Abdullah the Butcher attacking Ron Simmons. So that kind of throw away their rivalry between Abdullah the Butcher and Cactus Jack. I don't think they had a match. I know Abdullah the Butcher, his gimmick is bleeding people. And then, they're beating down, Cactus and Abdullah beating down Simmons. And then you got the return of the Junkyard Dog. He was wearing like a white tuxedo. He came out, beat down both Jack and Abdullah the Butcher. This is sort of like some kind of like a 6-man tag team match in the future, I don't know if it was on TV, probably on a house show, I don't know. It was like, because Abdullah the Butcher and Cactus Jack would end up teaming up with Mr. Hughes, I don't know. This is before my time. This is 1992. I was born in 1994, by the way. Anyway, so moving on to, this is kind of like the weakest match of the night. This is a tag team match. We got Richard Morton teaming up with Finny Vegas. Finny Vegas, that is Kevin Nash, the future, the former known as Oz, and the future Diesel when he had that gimmick a year later when he was in WWF. Teaming up with the Z-Man, Tom Zenk, and Van Hammer. So by the way, Finny Vegas is Kevin Nash. He was formerly known as Oz. That was a stupid gimmick. The Finny Vegas gimmick, it looks better. It was a bit better than Oz. I give WCW credit, homage to pulp culture, but that's not saying too much. So it's just what it is. So the Finny Vegas gimmick, it was a bit sensible than the Oz gimmick, but he was not really doing anything in WCW in his first run compared to his second run. He done something in WCW. Roughly was part of the boom period they had. Anyway, so the tag team match between Morton, Vegas versus Zenk, the Z-Man and Van Hammer, it was a standard match. Like I said, there was no bad matches on the show. I'm gonna say it in my final rating, but it was a standard tag team match. Morton and Z-Man, they were good workers. They carried Kevin Nash and Van Hammer to a passable match, an okay match. Vegas and Vegas and Van Hammer, they were just big dudes doing punchy stuff. you had Morton and Z-Man carried the load. In the end, the Z-Man rolled up, hit the Morton with a Stoneplate roll up for the win, and that was it. It was just like I said, nothing special. It was just an okay match. Wasn't a bad match. Wasn't a 4-star classic, but it was an okay match. So moving on to the next match. So the next match, this was better. This was a bit better. We got Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes, the AKA the future Goldust, taking on the Crusher, Larry Sabisco, and what's his name? Stunning Steve Austin. Yeah, with Medusa, we're in their corner to represent the Dangerous Alliance. So let's talk about the Dangerous Alliance. So this was formed in 1991 in WCW because the Dangerous Alliance been around since 1987. They had many versions of the group in, the CWA, the AWA, WCW, and then years later in ECW. So, but people more talk about the WCW's version of the Dangerous Alliance. You had Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously leading the group. You had, Stunning Steve Austin, the future Stone Cold Steve Austin, Larry Sabisco, Beautiful Bobby, Arn Anderson. It's very underrated because it didn't last long. It lasted 1992 until the group was disbanded. It's a damn shame. Heyman went to ECW. People went their separate ways. Anyway, so the match between, by the way, the storyline going into this took place at Halloween Havoc. You had Sabisco and Arn Anderson injuring the arm of Barry Windham, because Windham was supposed to be taking part of the whole Chamber of Horrors match at Halloween Havoc 91. He broke his arm. I think he injured his arm in real life, but this was an injury angle to write him off. So that was the reason why Windham's feuding with Sabisco. Austin was in the company at the time, but he wasn't the culprit of injuring Windham's arm. So anyway, so the match between Austin, Sabisco, Windham, and Rhodes, this was good. Yeah, like I said, 92 in WCW was the best year they had. They had really good workers, putting on some great matches. Anyway, so the match was really good. I wasn't really a bit bored. It was back and forth. It was between like Austin, Sabisco, Rhodes, and Windham. I think Medusa did get involved. He slapped Rhodes in the face. In the end, Windham hit like a diving lariat onto, I think it was on Sabisco. I think it was Sabisco. I think it was Larry Sabisco. He pins Larry Sabisco for the win. So they got their revenge. Windham got his revenge onto the Dangerous Alliance. So we're 4 matches in. We had the light heavyweight championship match. We had Taylor versus Bagwell. You had Simmons versus Cactus Jack. Vegas. I'm trying to remember the card that well. Vegas and Morton taking on Z-Man and Van Hammer. And this match, that is Rhodes and Windham taking on Stunning Steve Austin and Larry Sabisco. That's match number 5. We've got about 2 more matches to go. 2 or 3 matches to go. So the next match, this is for the WCW Tag Team Championships. We got Arn Anderson and Arn Anderson. Beautiful Bobby. Jesus Christ. We got Arn Anderson and Beautiful Bobby, also represent with the Dangerous Alliance, with Medusa in their corner. They defended the belts against the Steiners, that is Rick and Scott Steiner. They won the belts. They won the belts in 92. They won it in 91. They dropped the belts, similar to, I think it was Steamboat and Rhodes. I think it's Steamboat or someone. And then they regained the tag team title belt. So they really basically got the stranglehold of the tag team belts in late 91 and early parts of 92. That was I think it was at the previous Clash. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. So the match between yeah, the Steiners versus Anderson and Eaton. This was another good match, really good. The ending was a bit patchy. We'll get to that shortly. It was really good for what it is, back and forth. I really enjoy. You know, like I said, really good workers, man. In the end, yeah, the finish was a bit, yeah, like I said, a bit patchy. So you had, I think Medusa gave, I think it was Arn Anderson, powder. He threw the powder in the face of Rick Steiner, and then Rick hit the referee. I think that's Randy Anderson. And then in the end, Scott hit the I think like a double winged powerbomb onto, I think it was on Beautiful Bobby, and then he hit Bobby Eaton with the Frankenstein for the win. The Steiners won the tag team titles, but unfortunately they reversed this decision because yeah, Rick accidentally hit the official, the referee. So yeah. So the match was thrown out, really refers into disqualification. Yeah, Anderson, Arn and Eaton won this match by disqualification, retained the tag team titles. The Steiners went on to beat Arn Anderson and Beautiful Bobby. I think it was a steel cage match in a house show in Chicago in May of that year. And then they ended up dropping the belts to Terry Gordy and Steve Williams, Dr. Death Steve Williams. Yeah, and then the Steiners end up winning the IWGP World Tag Team titles later on in the year before going to WWF. Left the company in late '92 to go to the greener patches of the World Wrestling Federation. So that's match number 6. Match number 7. This is technically the match of the night. We got Rick Rude with Paulie Dangerously in his corner, defending the WCW United States Championship against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So I think it's for months and weeks, we had basically, in a tag team match early, the build up to the match at Superbrawl, you had a tag team match. I think it was Sting and Steamboat taking on Austin and Rude. Sting and Steamboat won this match, and then, the baddies got the heat because Sting, we'll get to Sting in the main event. So you had Steamboat attacked Steamboat. He attacked Steamboat with the Ruger Awakening. It really got his number. I think he attacked him multiple times to build up to this match. Rude defeats Sting for the WCW World Title. I think that, not World Title, the United States title, sorry, at Clash of the Champions 18. And by the way, and they had this segment with Medusa. I think you had Missy Hyatt trying to interview Steamboat. You got this guy dressing up like a ninja, won't let Missy Hyatt interviewing Steamboat. He was meditating. He's putting fire in a dish, lighting up candles, and then when Medusa, this is a funny segment by the way. Medusa trying to demand to see Steamboat and this guy. I don't know who dressed up like the ninja. He said, no Steamboat, no Steamboat. The ninja who was guarding Steamboat's door. Medusa smacked the ninja in the face, and then the ninja chasing up Medusa afterwards. That was just funny. Anyway, and also I think they announced that Paul Heyman is banned from ringside. So, anyway, the match between Steamboat and Rude, this was really good. A really good match, back and forth. The bulk of the match, you had Steamboat working on the arm of Rick Rude, and it's funny that Rude trying to do his muscle pose. He's selling the arm, and also Rude Steamboat locking the figure 4 leg lock onto Rude. Yeah, it's not shades, but kind of like a homage to his rival Ric Flair, because at this moment in time he's the World Wrestling Federation champion in the WWF. They had many matches, in 89, and then had one more classic match in 94 before Steamboat retired. Anyway, so the match was, Steamboat was about to win this match. It was a lot of near falls. In the end, you got this ninja who's basically Steamboat's guard, hitting Steamboat in the head. He was going for a move up the top rope. I think it was a crossbody, or I think it was a dragonfly splash, whatever. So, yes. Steamboat, the ninja hit Steamboat in the head with the telephone. When I watched this, I knew it's Paul E. Dangerously. I knew he's gonna find a way to help Rude win this match to retain the title, and he did. So Rude pinned Steamboat for the win, retained the United States title, and then had this segment. Hayes was about to interview Rude. He saw like the members of the Dangerous Alliance and Paulie Dangerously, that's Paul Heyman, in our current timeline. You know, he was the one dressed up like Steamboat's got bodyguard and ninja, whatever. So this segment, you know, this match and and confirm that Heyman dressed up like ninja. This will set up a rematch at Beach Splash later on in the year in 1992 in an Iron Man match for the title. And sadly, you know, in those matches, you know, Steamboat came off short, didn't win the United States title. I think he did, maybe in 93, 94 before he retired. I don't know, but it's a shame. You know, it's really, you know, both really had good chemistry. Two future Hall of Famers. It was magic. Moving on to the main event, we got Lex Luger, the total package, defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Sting. Luger won the belt at the Great American Bash the previous year in 1991 against Barry Windham in a steel cage match. Originally it was supposed to be him for his Flair for the world title on that show, but suddenly Flair got fired from WCW, took the world title belt with him to the WWF. Windham was basically the last minute replacement for Flair. Sting was in his middle of the feud with the Dangerous Alliance. You know, they attacked him, Luger attacked him, injured his knee. Sting went on to lose the United States title to Rick Rude. I think it was at Clash 18, I think it was in November of 91. Then Sting basically has the last laugh. Then in December of 91, he went on to win the Battle Ball. You know, that is basically their version of the Royal Rumble at Starrcade of 91 to face the world champion on this show. Sting and Luger are best friends. To this day are best friends. So this match was, I think, maybe they had matches before this. Probably, I don't know if they had matches before this or this is their first match. I'm not too sure. But this match between Luger and Sting, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. It could be a lot better. It's a bit short in my opinion. I looked it up on Wikipedia. This match lasted about 13 minutes. The other two matches, you know, the tag team title match and the United States title match were 20 minutes. Wow, I wish they took 5 minutes off probably one of these matches, whether it's probably the tag team title match or the United States title match, to add more minutes of the main event. That's just me, that a bit suffered, but overall, still a good match for what it is. The ending was a bit rushed, so Sting hit Luger with a crossbody for the win. You know, it's one moment of the match. You had Sting lifting Luger up his shoulders. I thought he was gonna do the torture rack. Unfortunately, that's not the case. If I was rebooking it at the time, I'd rather have Sting hit the the Stinger Splash, the Scorpion Death Drop, and the Scorpion Deathlock, make Luger tap out for the win. That's just me, but yeah, it's good to see Sting win the title. I'm not saying it's a bad match, like I said, it was a good match. I wish they had more time. So this was the end of Lex Luger's time in WCW. It started in 87, you know, he was wrestling in the Florida territory in 85, you know, and this is his early years as a pro wrestler before signing with GCP, that stands for Jim Crockett Promotions, you know, the future WCW. He was in the company for the first one in 87, and it lasted for 5 years. He left in this show, after this show in 1992. I think he went on to pursue, not just in WCW, but a bit in pro wrestling. Took a break from pro wrestling to pursue a career in bodybuilding, because he went on to sign with the WBF, that is Vince McMahon's company. He didn't compete in the WBF championships, you know. This was the second year of the championship, you know, the WBF, because the WBF lasted until 1992, because, you know, Vince trying to compete with Weeders, you know, Vince failed to do that, you know, this is 9 years before he did the whole XFL stuff. But yeah, he only appeared 1 or 2 episodes of Body Stars, is basically their weekly show. Yeah, he didn't really compete in the WBF. He signed with the WWF. He debuted at the 1993 Royal Rumble pay-per-view as the narcissist Lex Luger. This was the beginning of Lex Luger shitting the bed in the World Wrestling Federation. You know, he never won a single title. I'm talking about he's never. Yeah, he never won a single title. He's never been a world champion in WWF. He's never been a mid card champion or a tag team champion. Yeah, he shit the bed. He, trying to become the next Hulk Hogan, Lex Express, good old USA Lex Luger, failed to win the world title against the heel foreigner Yokozuna at SummerSlam 93, and then he went on to become the co-winner of the 1994 Royal Rumble match with Bret Hart. I almost say Bret Baker. I meant Bret Hart, and then they're trying to do that again at WrestleMania 10, having Luger win the world title against Yokozuna. Failed again. That was in the DQ. Then the Allied Powers, teaming up with Bulldog. He returned to WCW in '95. He debuted. He returned at the first Monday Nitro. Go and check my review of WCW Monday Nitro, the first episode. It's on my playlist. Just click it, click on the channel, click on playlist. You find my reviews of WCW Monday Nitro. My final rating for, and by the way, Sting went on to feud with Vader, dropped the world title. Yeah, and the feud with Vader in 92, rest of 92, 93, and 94. It's a bit on the side note, so. Anyway, so like I said, my final rating for WCW Super Brawl 2, I give it a 10 out of 10. This was a strong show, in my opinion. A lot of people disagree, but for me, this was a good show. Like I said, no bad matches on the show. The only thing in the OK has been the tag team match between Vinny Vegas, Richard Morton taking on the Z-Man and Fan Hammer. Besides that, this show was good from top to bottom. To the light heavyweight title match, to the main event was decent for what it is. I like the Steamboat versus Rude for the United States title. The tag team title match between we had this bogus finish between Arn Anderson, Beautiful Bobby Eaton versus the Steiner Brothers. Rhodes and Wyndham versus Austin and Zbyszko. And you had some 2 fun matches as well, like Terrence Taylor versus Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Ron Simmons versus Cactus Jack. So if you find this on the network, I suggest watching Super Brawl 2. So I hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Super Brawl 2. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash like button, click the bell, click the like, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube, be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, we'll travel 4 years into the future, climaxing the end of the rivalry between Hulk Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom. Him and the Macho Man Randy Savage reform the Mega Powers, taking on the Alliance to destroy Hulkamania in the Doomsday Cage match. I'm talking about Uncensored 96. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later. Yeah, that's my review of WCW Super Brawl 2. I give it a 2 thumbs up